This is Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com. We're here at the Mr. Olympia Prejudging. I'm here with Milos Sarcev, the technician, Chris Aceto, and the one and only Derik Farnsworth. And we're going to wrap this thing up because it was an exciting night here tonight at the Orleans Arena. And Chris, it was the Shawn Rhoden versus Phil Heath show today, and I'm looking for your opinion.
This is exactly 2015 all over again. I've been saying it, and people, been, criticizing me because I just will not shut up about it. That Shawn Rhoden beat Phil in 2015. That's my opinion. And
did he beat him here tonight?
Yeah, he beat him here tonight. In my opinion, he beat him right when he came out, because when Shawn came out, I knew nobody was going to have that combination of fullness, condition, tie-ins, shape, symmetry, and detail. All the parameters that you use for judging a bodybuilding show.
And his stomach was nice and flat.
And Phil's wasn't.
Yeah, I guess that also really was screw him up last year. Milos, let me talk to you about this.
Yes.
What was your opinion of the Shawn Rhoden Phil Heath show tonight?
Well, I said also last year that if Shawn was 100% on, he would be a player. 2015, he was a big-time player, and I don't know if he deserved to win, but today, for my 2 cents, he won the show.
Why?
Now,
why? What was wrong with Phil Heath?
Phil was not in his usual condition, so he wasn't really off, but he was very much off for himself. And comparison in conditioning between him and Shawn was way into Shawn's favor. So as Chris said, okay, Chris, you can say he could be biased because he's his coach, but I'm independent. I love Shawn's physique, and we talked about this last time. Shawn has that crazy V-taper with super small waist, crazy legs, separation, and abs were in super control. I mean, ab shot. It was ridiculous, he was beating him fair and square. Front double biceps, I wasn't at the press conference, I didn't hear this, I heard from somebody else, he beat him in front double biceps. Now, lat spread, it could go either way, it's a toss-up. Side chest and side triceps. Now, because Phil has such a round chest, shoulders, arms, I don't know, it's apples and oranges, and it depends what the judges are looking for. Shawn was spectacular, keeping a tight waist, round shoulders, round chest. He was maybe somewhat smaller, right? He was somewhat smaller, and this is what I always say, what wins, size or conditioning and shape? Shape-wise, condition-wise, Shawn won. Majority of the poses also.
Derik, what did you think? What was your impression of the Shawn versus Heath show?
If you looked at Phil's legs, weren't as diced and sliced as they usually are. Through the pecs and the shoulders, he doesn't have that. He has that gritty chest and that massy muscle. It wasn't there across the upper back. On the backside, a little bit watery more than usual. He had his great legs, but when he went to the upper back, it wasn't there. His whole upper body looked just off a little bit, and the legs weren't sliced and diced in the front. Shawn improved leg separation, abs down. Small waist.
Yeah. Sorry, but go ahead.
I'm
serious.
But Chris, I'm going to give you credit because you said if Phil is going to make the drastic mistake of trying to come in too lean, and if he does that, or too waist tapered at the waist because of last year's criticism, and if he does that, you said he's going to blow all his 3D muscle he's got.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's you ultimately every bodybuilder's got to show up their their strengths, and Phil lost his strength, I think, of fear of getting up there and having people say you got a gut, and fear of that Ramy's breathing down his neck. So he can't play Ramy's game and get bigger. So he can only try to come in unworldly condition. Next to unworldly condition is not a good look for a lot of people. It just doesn't have a lot of pop, and that's what a big part of where Phil made a big mistake is trying to come in with more detail, and he actually has less detail because he's chasing detail.
Roelly Winklaar. Let's talk about him. I was super impressed. Matter of fact, I think you can make a case for Roelly Winklaar winning this show if you want to go on sheer muscle and conditioning.
Yeah, we talked about it, and yes, I'm very, very impressed. His legs are his downfall. So this is what it is. He has a crazy V-taper. He was in a quite good condition, right? And as he was posing, actually, his upper body was coming more alive, but legs were fading, which was interesting. I saw him initially that he could be definitely a contender, but then he slipped away a little bit. So he's going to be his best placing ever.
Will he finish third?
Yeah, quite possibly. I love William Bonac. Yes. As we discussed before, he almost has too much muscle, in his body. Now, you can't say this for somebody that is this wide. He is somewhat narrow, so that really throws off that balanced shape, and he does a lat spread, anything else, it just doesn't pop out. It was like too much muscle there, and he was not in as usual crystal sharp conditioning. He was a little bit off, Ted off.
Third and fourth, who do you have?
I have Roelly Winklaar, solid third, because he's just got tons of muscle. And I agree with Milos. Roelly's, there's two Roellys. There's like three, but one. This is a great look for Roelly. I think it was a very smart look to play, because a lot of times he tries to come in bizarrely. He tries to chase the legs, and then he doesn't have the freak factor. So where
he did what worked for him in Arnold, Australia, where he won.
Yeah. But I think this is an impressive Roelly Winklaar, because it's a good combo of, super round, which is his highlights, and in really good condition. I think if he chases the condition like super tight, then he loses something in terms of leg fullness, and he even loses the super crazy freaky upper body through the pecs.
Who do you have, Derek, in the Roelly Winklaar? Roelly over Bonac.
Yeah, just because, again, there's just too much muscle there, and then he's definitely in different condition than he usually is. And Bonac, again, I think he's off a little bit like Milos, just a little bit off, where if he brought that last year's dryness condition, I would have him in third. So,
what happened to the next coming of Big Ramy?
Yeah,
Big Ramy was obviously the guy they were talking about winning this Olympia. I know Chris said something to me on the radio. We were talking, we heard he was about 310, 315. We said, that's not good at 2 weeks out. Did they bring him in too big and then try to suck him down too low? Yeah. What happened?
I heard exactly your interview, and I was right away agreeing with Chris. He can be 310 pounds on the stage and really looking polished. Last year he wasn't polished. We talk about he was lacking a detail. His phenomenal legs were again there, but there was no separation. To beat Phil Heath at his best, he should have come down and be super shredded. It was a huge disappointment, but kind of you can tell leading up to the show, right? There was no pictures of him. If you're proud of something, you have no problem,
You say that all the time, yeah.
Yes, so of course somebody wants to play the games, but him not being in top 5, can he make a top 5? Probably they're going to give him.
Probably will get 5th.
Yeah, he's probably going to get 5th, but even that's undeserved. Yes, and I'm a big fan of his. Really, if he would, work with what he has and come super sliced and diced. I talked to Chris Cormier, who saw him just recently, and he says, wait until you see him. His glutes were striated like way better. His chest, I asked him, how about chest ratio? Oh yeah, he's in top condition. So he wasn't. Yeah. Now, you guys know I was right about behind Bader Budai, and he just stood up in the middle of prejudging and walked away.
I didn't see Bader at all. He ran out of here. Hey, you worked. Hold on, Derek.
Derek. He put the medals around him. So I was looking for him.
Derek worked on Big Ramy, didn't you? On Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday. Yep.
And what did you think when you saw him Wednesday?
He was huge, but everybody's a little bit, that thing. I've never seen guys before when they pull water on that. And I had Brandon Curry, I had Shawn, I had all these guys. So I'm like, okay, they're all going to dry out. And so when they came in, I'm like, Ramy took up my whole damn table. You know what I mean? So I'm like, there's a lot of muscle, but.
That must have been a funny video to watch. Imagine a video of him working on Ramy.
Well, his leg was bigger than my whole girlfriend. So I looked out there. I'm like, he was a monster. But I was like, I have to wait a couple of days because they all kind of look the same. And the last couple of days, they change. I mean, Shawn changes every 5 hours. I saw him from Monday and I see him on Thursday. He's a totally different person, and the Curry was a big impressive.
Mila, how many Bumax did Ramy need to get all that weight off?
You need like 4 to 6 milligrams at least. But let me tell you something, because I noticed this. When Ramy shake his quad and then hit it, there was actually separation. But when he was posing, relaxed, it was gone.
So what does that mean?
I mean, he did, as experienced bodybuilder as he is, it's not what you have, it's what you show. Sure. So he actually had it. If there's a brief moment, you can see separation, right there. So keep it. And he didn't have it. Now, if he did create this illusion, he would, probably be the top 3. Right.
But he still wasn't in the kind of conditioning.
No, he wasn't. But when you add everything, size, width, V-taper, the X factor, wow factor, he's a formidable opponent, but he was off, and there was a huge disappointment. I hope he, gets much better tomorrow, so audience can see him, dry and better. But as Chris said, like if you're 315 pounds, 4 or 6 milligrams of Bumstead is going to take 20 pounds off. So you're going to be right under.
They might be calling Milos to have to come make a special run for the hotel room. Now let's talk about 212 for a minute, because Flex Lewis is going. This is his last 212 event. I don't think anyone challenged him tonight. Were you thinking that anyone was close? I mean, I think it was pretty much second, third, fourth they were shooting for.
Yeah, I thought it was a great look for Flex Lewis. I thought he had more roundness. I was critical. You know, people talked about his condition last year, and I thought he was very flat last year. Yeah. And I've seen him flat at different shows. Maybe he's chasing the condition too sometimes. This was the right combination for him, where from behind he was very round and a lot of detail. And then from the front, you know, sometimes he has issues with the quads not separating, so he's lean enough and not and tight enough to so that in the front shots his legs look really sharp. I thought it was. I mean, he was a deserving winner here.
Who do you think is going to finish in the second and third position? Because I thought it was a pretty close battle.
It's going to be Derek second.
Derek Lunsford.
Yeah, and let me tell you, he was absolutely phenomenal going into the show, like 4 weeks out.
4 weeks out, he looked like the next Mr. Olympia.
So, yeah, exactly. And then I was thinking, like, if this guy actually improved on that condition, he can give him a huge run for the money. You know, the way I see it, and let's speak openly, I mean, I really think it's probably too long staying on a cycle. Probably he wanted so badly. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't stop since last Olympia until now. Yeah. So for me, it looked like a receptor shut down, and it was like just not responding. This is how I see it. Tremendous physique, everything was there. You know, he's wider than Flex. So if he was, you know, in top condition, he would give him a run for money. But let me tell you this: I'm shocked with Shawn Clarida. I mean. Arguably, you know, he was best conditioned on the stage, and for this frame, he had the most muscle. Yeah. I think he could have actually, you know, be as high as top 3, but they dog him. He's going to probably be like 6th or something. Yeah. Kamal was phenomenal, you know.
Kamal El Gargni.
Yeah, Kamal has that beautiful shape, you know, such aesthetics, and then when he hits the pose, you can see that experience. All the separation came about. That's what Derek didn't have. Right. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised that some judges saw Kamal second, but I think they're going to go with because Derek is next big thing, and he's probably next to take this title. Yeah. So they're probably going to put him second.
Who do you think? Second, third.
I thought. Well, going back to Lunsford, I thought he was like far more muscle detail, far more muscle maturity, challenge Flex. Not you know. Far more competitive against Flex.
Forget Flex. Take Flex out of the equation.
No, of course not, because you're competing against who's in the lineup. So when they put Flex in the middle and Kamal on one side, Kamal far more favorably compares to Flex. He has more detail. He has better condition. He's not as big and he's not as round. But for his frame, he's extremely big and extremely round, and he beats Lunsford on every shot, including the back toe biceps.
I would have liked to see Kamal Lunsford comparison.
Well, there's a reason you didn't.
I don't. Why?
Well, you tell me.
What does that mean?
It means they're pushing Derek.
We'll see.
Yeah, unless they get Kamal solidly in second, who won the Arnold. I mean, I'm just saying that would logically make sense, but
sometimes they forget, I think. I really do. I do believe. I think they actually forget because they like, oh, this is for top 3. But sometimes you want to see second and third next to each other. You know?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a time. So that's what I'm going to tell you. There was not enough comparisons again, but I agree.
You're a big
yes,
yeah.
I mean, we all want to see it. I mean, you know, mix them, you know, crisscross them. But Kamal beat Derek, you know, today as a bodybuilder, a competitor, being ready on the stage, being complete. Right. He beat him. Now Derek is much wider and has much more potential to grow into the unbelievable champion. But yeah, but today I agree. I mean, but the judge is going to favor him because they want to maybe encourage him because he's next in line.
I think that would happen, and you've said this before, sometimes when guys are ready too soon, what do you say to me when we look at pictures and the guy's like ready 3 weeks out, 4 weeks, 5, 6 weeks out?
I got to fly back to Maine, and if the pilot's flying, you know, on the 500 feet above the, you know,
no, he's not going to make it.
We're going to crash early.
You're going to crash early, right? Yeah. So I think that's what happened with Derek. He crashed because he couldn't hold the peak that long.
Well, sometimes people play it too safe too. You know, they stay too tight, too many weeks out, and then the plane crashes.
Let's talk about Classic Physique. Finals were tonight, obviously. Breon Ansley retains the title over Chris Bumstead. Good battle. I thought Bumstead was much better last year. For some reason, he just didn't look as tight. Maybe his legs or something like that were not as hard. And I think he left the door open, and I think just Ansley stepped through it, and I think that it cost him the title.
Yeah, what is the third guy's name? Gerald? George. You know.
Oh, George Peterson. Yeah.
George Peterson, I think he was clearly second. I mean, really, I appreciate it. Last time I actually said before I heard the results that Chris was my favorite to win. Last year, yes, he had that wow factor. But then today when I analyzed him, he was soft, kind of. He has the vacuum and a V-taper, but he does the abs. It's
Wasn't grainy today.
And legs were kind of watery. There is a deep separation and all that stuff. He doesn't have a great back to match Breon, right? And Peterson? George Peterson.
Has the best back on stage.
Yeah, I mean, he was best conditioned, actually. For me, he would give the argument to even win the show. Breon had better arms, crazy back, and fuller legs. So I can see it going to him. But again, as a purist and looking for aesthetics, and this is classic physique, right? Now, this is another question. Now we're going to go in the classic physique, and the same thing is going to happen. Bigger guy is going to beat the smaller aesthetic guy. Yeah. So bigger aesthetic guy is going to beat smaller. Yeah. No, you created classic physique for that. Frank Zane was 180 pounds, winning Mr. Olympia. So stick with the aesthetics. And for me, from that aspect, George actually could have won today.
You agree?
I understand his argument. Something about George looks more 212. I've always said that.
He's very short and stout.
Something's on the stocky side.
He's like a Jose.
I would have Henry Pierre ahead of George if you're going about aesthetics, flow, symmetry, balance, condition.
What do you think, Derek?
I agree with saying even Henry more.
Come over here a little
I think more like classic-wise. To me, George is more, he's going to bodybuilding-ish. But you talk about Bumstead, he's young. It's talking about Derek versus Kamal. There's an age difference. How old is George? He's got to be 35, 36. Bumstead is 24. Again, young muscle versus mature muscle. I think that's what Milos prefers too, is we like that grainy, full, tight. And these young guys just aren't there yet. These guys are 24, 25 years old. Kamal's 46.
You've been training how many years, Derek?
29.
20 more.
I've been older than both those guys, you know what I mean? So, again, we're seeing young muscle versus mature muscle, better shape versus a little bit off. So it's, again, apples and oranges. Do you want conditioning? Do you want who's going to come next? I want the guy today to win, not the guy who's going to be. Derek has got great potential, but from the front, I'm like, you're off 3 weeks. Kamal was just zinging, and he was closer to Flex than to Derek. But is Derek going to be good? Yeah. But again, it's potential versus rise to. There's a lot of guys we saw win the USAs that were next big thing, and they're all at home watching on TV right now.
Or not alive, unfortunately. Great night tonight of action. Obviously, the 212 and the Mr. Olympia will be decided tomorrow night. Congratulations to Breon Ansley on repeating as Classic Physique champion. I think that might have been one of the most exciting divisions in the Olympia this year because so much new talent, so many new faces out there. For now, though, I'm Dave Palumbo with Milos Sarcev, Chris Aceto, and Derik Farnsworth. We'll see you tomorrow night.